Didn't have me as the host for some reason, so I had to. Okay. So again, over the weekend, craft 5 sentences. My only suggestion is you try to push yourself a little bit. Do things that you think are a challenge to you, and then you'll share those on Tuesday. That's how we'll start our class. The goal is to sort of just give us opportunities to use the language. Uh, And then feel free to respond to one another. If you got a thought and you want to try and string something together, do that. Uh, and then for next Thursday, so 1 week from today, we're going to name as many uh, water animals, hintak adi, as we can. So there's your weekend tasks. So I thought today would do these, just practice trying to create some sort of descriptive or so just say something about a particular thing that's in this deck of Tlingit alphabet cards. There's also the verb cards. I'd like to take a look at a couple more of those. There's a couple slideshows that kind of take looks at verb structure, and then just crashing through some nouns that
I
we've
did have
studied.
10 now.
So that's, oh, whoops. Nasi, pagkasiku khati, yatikhat.
Let me see.
Uh, so let's start. I guess we'll start in the room. Uh, Teish tush an. Chiquina. Chiquina. So tell me what it is in English and then just say some sentence using chiquina. Get away. Get away. So here's the picture. It is a hand towel. So everybody say chiquina.
Chiquena.
Chiquina. Chiquina.
Buena.
So quena is the power, it means the one that mops or wipes. ʻalḥiqu is the verb that it comes from. There are some verbs you're going to learn when a verb ends with u, when you close it, it's going to become way. So qu becomes queen, ku becomes queen. And you'll see this. This is something that we're going to see. The other thing is you could put j in front of it. Jiquina would be a hand towel. You could put sich in front of it. Sichquina, that's a dish towel. You could put ya in front of it. Yaquina, that would be a face washcloth. You could put qada in front of it. Qadaquina, and that's a body towel. We don't usually say tuqwina, we say tuqacheta, which is toilet paper. So, can you think of a sentence that uses jiqwina?
No. Pooch.
It could be any kind of, you could say, jiqwina akhtuwasaku, I want a towel. Or you could say, jiqwina khatin, I see a towel. It doesn't have to be anything complicated.
Gusu Chiquena.
Gusu jiqwina.
Gusu.
Gusu jiqwina. Hey, kunchish. Jock. Chonk. Yeah, well.
Eagle.
Yeah, well.
Mm, Ak. Quasatin.
Aquasatin. Okay, and everybody say chonk.
Chalk.
Chonk.
Chalk.
Chalk. Hasanak. Saw.
Danji.
Saw with a T.
Seal.
Ewa. Okay. Sa echi okay. Everybody say saw. 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 Huts uchu. Tauk anasi. Might be a new one. If you don't know what it is, tauk anasi, you could say ach ididishe.
Is it jellyfish?
Ye'aweh. Ye'aweh. Everybody say tauk anasi. Tauk anasi. Tauk anasi. A sentence using tauk anasi.
Tak anasi hintak yadi awe.
Ye'aweh. Tauk anasi hin tak adi aweh. Yak good cheesh. Hey, Tsashkinaku. Jin.
A mountain goat?
Oh, well,
Hand.
Jinwu is a
One.
mountain goat. Yenaka?
Is it hand? Hande
Yeah,
ijin?
Ye'aweh. Everybody say Jin.
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 And this is a body part, so it should have a noun before it. So you could say qaq jin, Link's paw, that's fine. You could say ach jin. You could say yi jin, ʼatángi jin, qa jin. But usually not just jin on its own. Okay. Make a sentence using that word.
Hande ijin.
Oh, wait, we're going one by one. Sorry.
Adusaway. Jin.
Ah, yeah. A do jin so way. Which is a fun, like, whose hand is this? Which, we can think of some fun contexts for that. Yeah. Okay. Goodness cheesh. Okay, so I'll go down my list based on who I see at the top. Let's see. Anya Nachtla. Hadadushi.
Don't recognize that one.
Okay. Just say ach ididishe and somebody will help you.
Ach, I did a shit.
Man-eating tiger.
The man-eating cat, or it means like the cat that's around us. And it's usually a mountain lion or maybe a tiger, something like that. But mountain lion is usually what it's going to be. So we'll say hadadushi.
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 Long, low, long, high, short, low. Okay. Make a sentence using hadadushi.
Hadadushi khatin.
Okay. Goodness cheesh. Ye'aweh. Audagan. Eitkoaha. Tzachwech. Tzachwech. Audagan. Eitkoaha. Tzachwech. Okay, well, we'll try A'iti kagachtu ak. Tlachane eit koaha. Tzachwel.
Tlech chwasiku.
Du iti deshe.
Eat a shit.
I'm telling them to help you. Yeah,
Crow?
away. Crow. Tleitkach. So everybody say tzachwel.
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 And make a sentence using tzachwel.
Tlech archa sakwesh.
Yeah, away. Or you could say tlech duchayi at, if that's what you're trying. Tlech duchayi at means it's not eaten. Tlech duchayi at yacht. Duchayi at is it's eaten. And dekinach enach kaltsta yedu asago at. So one time I was living in Prince of Wales and I was learning Haida. And so when I learn a language, I really like to just use it all over the place. And I was up in Kaufman Cove and I saw a whole bunch of crows in a tree and I was looking at them just grumpy because I could remember it in Tlingit. I knew it in English and I just could not remember the name in Haida. And the next day I was at home making salsa because I was into homemade salsa at the time. I had a cousin who was over visiting and I went, Galsta! And she looked at me and she says, it's salsa. So I always remember that one in Haida. Okay, let's see, who do I see next? Yecht uch klar. Uch.
Like my tooth.
Yeah, away.
Way, ye. Oh, I wonder if you. Way, ye.
We uch ach ye. Like it's going, it's there? Is that what that is?
Now we got no sound.
Oh, that tooth is. Sorry, you guys got a bit of an echo there. Okay, okay. So let's, again, this is a body part, so we're going to put ach, we'll make it mine. Ach uch. Ach uch. Ach uch. Okay. Sheesh. Audagon. Acha.
Father.
Zenacha.
Father.
Acha.
Oh, I thought you said ish. Um I mean, is it eat like, or is that acha, or am I saying?
Acha, it's really tricky because they're actually extremely, they actually could be identical verbs. Like you could say acha, and that could mean two different things depending on the context. So this one is a noun, and a noun, acha, yeah, away. Somebody wrote it on the board.
Oh,
Okay. It is a battle. So everybody say acha,
Acha.
acha,
Acha.
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 And can you make a sentence using acha?
acha chatin.
Okay, acha chatin. And tlachanes, I saw your question about how do you say bring the towel here. Carrying things is a little complicated in Tlingit, but the command is ach. So you would say, hat ach wejakoina. Bring the towel here. Achjit ach wejakoina. Hand me the towel. Okay, let's see. De slin yi it koaha. Echwasaku kuninach sawe yuhan. Shukwa ayikwa asa dituasaku idekakwaha. Not sure how many are in Tessin, but whoever wants to go first, it will be your turn. The word is Khwaja. Khwaja.
Here tonight, the stat iti dashi.
Oh. Has to eat yiddishi? Does anybody know Khwaja?
Jishagoon.
Jishagun awa. An ayat duhwach. Kwal zisk dugu. Kwal kuwakan dugu. Kwal tsa dugu. It is a skin scraper. It's a tool, jishagun. It's a skin scraper. Khwach is to scrape the skin clean of a hide. You're making a hide. So whoever's turn it is there, our inland relatives, a sentence using khwaja. Khwaja khatin. Okay. And are there others who are there with you?
Say.
Just what again? Nishan. Okay. Gonna cheesh. Okay, let's see. Who do I see next? Deoji. Yiithoha. Dasawi tletkach enach. Naq. Yewa Aurdagan.
Octopus or medicine?
Yewa.
Octopus.
Naq. Yewa octopus. Takat Yohan
Knock, knock, knock,
Naq.
knock,
Naq.
knock,
Naq. Naq.
knock, knock,
And Deji, you want to make a
knock,
sentence using naq?
knock, okay.
Yewa. Khatsu. Cheesh. Adisa yidatqa. Joe, itqaha. Khatku.
Atku. Tlilqosako. Has to eat idashi.
Okay. To eat dishi Johan Yisikuke dasawe khatku.
Mud shark.
Yewa. Mud shark. Yetu yewa. Tleitkach enach. Yeyanaka. Khatku. Khatku.
Atku.
Khatku. And Joe, make a sentence using khatku.
Khat aha khatku.
Okay. Aha khatku. Yewa. The mud shark ate a fish. Or is eating a fish. Okay. Kuwatan. Yitqaha. Qutch ayanaha.
Star.
Yewa. Eyanaika. Qutch ayanaha. Qutch ayanaha. Qutch ayanaha. And make a sentence using qutch ayanaha. ʻAkekeʻiti.
Hut Ayanas Sa Du Jiwu. I mean, hold on. Akla Du Jiwu Hut. What was the word?
Hutch ayanaha.
Hut Ayanaha.
Okay. Maybe it's like a little one. A star. Sheesh. Yidetqa Kainashu. Walk. Oh, Klashe Sachwaach.
Hooch.
Yisikugeqa. Walk. What do eat dish?
I.
I. So we're going to put the pronoun on here. Achwak.
Ḥaqwaq.
Achwak.
Ḥaqwaq.
Achwak.
Ḥaqwaq.
Achwak.
Ḥaqwaq.
And can you make a sentence using walk? Kainashu. Oops.
Achwak Yanik.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not okay that it happened, but Achwak Yanik. My eye hurts. I had that guy. Okay. Itia Satuk. Zisk.
Moose.
Yeah, away. Yeah, naika. Zisk. Zisk.
Zisk.
Zisk.
Zisk.
And make a sentence.
Zisk Khatin.
Okay. Zisk. Khatin. Okay. Sakinya. Iit kuaha. Khan.
Land.
Khan.
Oh, fire.
Yeah, away. Kat Yohan ya naika. Khan. Khan. On. And make a sentence using Khan.
Hyundai Khan.
Okay. Sheesh. Okay, let's see. Juan Klein, eat kuaha. Douche.
Meow, meow.
Here away. Here naika. Douche.
What's that?
Douche.
Douche. Sagwat Yachyati.
Yeah, away. Douche. Tsakwat yacheti. Ach douche do to us sakuchata wachaki. My cat wants to murder me. Okay, Yadachun, eat kuaha. Glade.
Snow or white.
Ye awa. Glade. Ye naika, you want glade.
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 Okay, make a sentence using glade.
Kim Smart. Glade ka enach.
Ye awa. Okay, glade kakinach. Ye awa. Okay. Let's see. Yana 8. Eat kuaha. Cake.
Uh-oh. Tsuye Kanani.
Tlek.
One. One. One.
Tlek.
No.
That would be Tlek. And this one
Fingers.
that would be Tlek.
Tlekwasaku.
Tlek. Yisaku she Tlek. But that's a good one.
Not fingers?
Berries. Berries.
Oh.
So we have Tlek, 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 and Tlek. Make a sentence. Make a sentence using all of them. No, I'm just kidding. Make a sentence using Tlek.
Tlekwasatin.
Oh, you can. Tlek. I don't see no berries. Okay, to cut you on. Tlek. 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 Okay. Yaktishi. Slush.
Fireweed?
Yeah, away. Make a sentence using slush. Okay, slush achtuasagu. Kat Johan Yeyanaka. Slush. 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 Okay. Yedishitzin, Eitkoha, Gosh Yahuchi Ayi. Oh, Klum. Isatachtuasagu. Yesh.
Raven.
Yeah, away. Sentence Tlayech.
Yes, with a cane.
Okay. Yes, with the clean. Enaka. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay, good cheese. So, what we got now is we could translate a few lines of the Ďábhachtachtín story. We could go over more verbal structure stuff, or we could just look at those verb cards and read a few of those. What's the wishes of the group? Asayituch.
Transcribe a few.
Okay.
Do you have any pages of it? I forgot mine. You handed out.
Oh, any of the extra handouts? Like, I think I left him in that other room.
I have it on the site, but I can't write on it.
Oh,
Tadechatna'u.
I see.
I can, but I don't want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have one of those either, the story.
Okay. 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 So if you don't have one, you can go to the tlingitlanguage.com under Learning Tlingit and Intermediate Tlingit. If you scroll down, it's down here on January 29th, Ďábhachtachtín, Tlingit only, and then hopefully you'll be able to print that out, and then we'll just sort of work through it. The goal is that you'll have this done in mid-March, and then this is your midterm, is to try and get through this as much as you can. And then we'll work on some of it together. Then there'll be other times you're working on it on your own. And this is designed to just sort of get you into this active translation, which is really good exercise because then you could see these whole chunks of language, and what we'll probably do is read some of these sentences, and then we'll go through a few of them. And then I'll show you some techniques on how to look this stuff up when you encounter some Tlingit, because all of us should be getting to a point where we can hear some Tlingit and write down what we're hearing, and then to be able to translate it, which is a lot of hard work that goes into that. But I'm going to walk you through the process of doing this. And then we'll just go through this now and then. And it's a collaborative exercise. My hope is, maybe we'll set a goal by, how many pages is this? 5 pages? So let's just try and do maybe a page a week or so, and we'll just sort of go through it. And so try and get 1 page done by next week, and we'll just go through that whole page. Tonight we'll just do, we'll do maybe the first sentence. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how everybody feels. Because I want to give you a chance to encounter on your own, but I don't want you to feel like if you can't do this, that something bad is gonna happen, because it's really just practice. It's just a chance to get in here, and we're at the point where we need to be making things in terms of our own language, being able to put some things together and say some things, but then also to be able to take a look at some Tlingit and to translate that. And then this will help, because then at some point you'll hear this stuff. Like, oh yeah, I remember what that thing was. So, any questions on this assignment before we get into it?
Can I just check with you on one of them, because I wrote in my guest answer translation, but I wrote a little question mark next to it because I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
It's one on this page. It says hin tanakhat, and is that fish jumping in water?
Hin tanakhat, it's fish through the water.
Oh, okay.
Or in the water, yeah. Yeah, the jumping part would be a little bit different. There'd be the other thing is just taking a look at when a fluent speaker talks, how do they start putting their sentences together? Which words are coming first? What verbs are they using? How are those verbs appearing? Is there a verb? There doesn't have to be a verb in every sentence. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So who wants to read? Let's just do this one line at a time. Some of them, and basically, let me give you the sort of the reason why there's these line breaks. When we write down, or when I write down when people are speaking Tlingit, if they pause, I'll just drop it to the next line. That's typically how I do that. I have to go through and look at this and see what kind of strategies I used for this, because somebody started this, and then Ḳaalḳáawu did the bulk of the work on here, and he does excellent transcription and translation work. So the first part is what we call transcription, and that means when someone says "ha Tlingit," we are able to write that down. 3 words. There's 3 words there, and we'll get to the point where we'll be able to just, oh yeah, I know that word, I know that word, I know that word. And then the translation is where you write what that means in English. And so we're going to talk about this stuff, and we'll talk about how to, oh yeah, I guess these aren't, in the future I'll number them. Maybe I'll put a new version up that has line numbers. That's a really good point. Yeah, and 8. We usually do that. So we'll number every 5th line. So I'll make sure that gets put in there. But everybody just repeat after me. Ha Tlingit Ksatiye.
Ha Tlingit Ksatiye.
Ha Tlingit Ksatiye.
Ha Tlingit Ksatiye.
So it's really good to just try things out. If you have, if you think you know what that is, or you have some ideas, feel free to let us know, and then I'll walk you through some things that might be going on here. Anybody tell us what that is?
The X at the end of Tlingit would designate that that's what they are.
Yeah, so, well, there's a couple things, right? So one is, if we were to write this as Tlingit ha city, and so the way that would appear, let me open a little notebook thing here on the side. Oh, I don't think that's going to work. Hold on. So let me make some notes here on the side that we can hopefully all read. So if we were to write this, oops. So let's just say this one, Tlingit ha-city.
Tlingit ha-city.
Tlingit ha-city.
Tlingit ha-city.
Tlingit ha-city.
Tlingit ha-city.
So how would we translate that one? We are Tlingit, right? We are human beings. And so this is the verb. So this is this city verb. We've seen this. This is how we talk about clans and other forms of identity. And it really has to do with belonging to a group. So I could say, I'm a teacher. I'm a man. I'm a human being. I'm a Tlingit. So when we move the ha in front of it, even though it's spelled the same, sounds the same, it's a different type of ha. Like, so if this ha is in front of it, and so this is going to change this a little bit. So what has changed here?
Does it become our?
It becomes our. So it's not Tlingit ha-city. We are Tlingit. But when this ha goes over here, it's a different ha altogether. And then Tlingit sati. So what happens is the classifier will change, and it's going to get this relational marker at the end, and that means our Tlingit identity. Our Tlingit identity. So it's just how it's going to change. You can make verbs into nouns, but this is the process of doing that. Some of them, it wouldn't work as well, but for verbs, you can make them into nouns, and this is how you would do that. And so once you see the ha in front of it, and then you see this possessive marker, relational marker, then we know that that thing's it's become a noun, and it's ours. So this first one is our Tlingit identity. Any questions on that? Okay. So the second one, it's on two different lines. You need all of this to have the verb work. Okay? So we're going to say,
Une,
Dasa.
Kachchanak, Yadu.
Oh.
On the sati, just a question I'm not understanding. It's a I and then it turns to a sati, and city. I don't know. I'm something. I don't understand that.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So city it's a verb, right? So you could say, and this is, you can use a verb, you can turn it into a noun. So what's going on is you'd say, Tlingit city. I am a Tlingit. I'm a human being. But if you said, so like if this was going to change from first person plural us, here's how these both would look. So let's say Tlingit ʼatángi. That is a verb, and what I am communicating is I am a human being. Someone comes, the alien comes who speaks Tlingit, because of course they do, and he says, "Asawe wa'eh, huh? Tlingit ʼatángi. I'm a Tlingit, right?" But then if I changed it to the second pattern, this is how it would look. So one of the things that gets a little tricky is ha and ha. It doesn't have to change when it becomes a possessive. It looks exactly the same. But we see the chat would become ach in this case. Same thing, there might be other forms that are kind of similar. So what this is saying, this top one is saying, I am Tlingit. This one is saying, my being Tlingit, my Tlingit identity. And so what this is being talked about is as a thing. So like a lot of times in stories, like a storyteller is a lot of times going to sort of have what Dick Downhauer used to like to call a frame. They're going to start it with something, and it's usually some sort of thing that they want us to think about, some reason why they might be telling the story, and they're going to do some of that stuff before they move into the story. And this is from Ḳaalḳáawu, Cyril George, and he was very good at this stuff. So this is our being Tlingit, our Tlingit identity, and now he's going to talk about that as a thing, like the way it is to be Tlingit and stuff like that. And so they're very similar, but that's what that switch is doing. Is what is going on is the verb is becoming a noun. Another way you might see this is you could say, Hashitzin. Everybody say, Hashitzin.
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 And how would we translate that?
Our strength.
We are strong. We are strong. But if we wanted to say our strength, how would we do that? Because now we're not saying we're strong. We're talking about it as a thing. We're going to talk about this thing. Yeah, so it would go through ha, shlet, sin, ne. It would go through the same process. The classifier would switch, and it doesn't always switch, but the classifier is usually a minus I thing if it becomes a noun. Now that's our strength. Right? And so this is something that can happen to quite a few different verbs. And it's just saying, and English does the same thing. It's just this is the process in Tlingit. I am strong, my strength. And then you're usually going to say something about it. Right? So this is to be, and then we're going to talk about that being. The thing about being Tlingit, the thing about Tlingit identity, then you're usually going to have some. Once you hear the old people start talking about this, ha, Tlingit ʼsati awa, they're going to talk about what it means to be Tlingit. You're going to get some cultural things, you're going to get some other things that make us who we are. And so that's, yeah, my beingness, my identity, my being Tlingit. Okay?
So we are saying that when the classifier changes, is that a rule of thumb that it becomes a noun if it changes from the I to the from the positive to a negative?
Yes, the exception would be the zero. The zeros tend to not change. So like Yanik, so you could say Chet Yanik, and I don't want to get sick. But then you would say Ach Yaniku. So that's the zero group tends to sort of, if it's a ya, it kind of tends to stay that way. But the other ones, all the other ones, we expect them to, if they're a plus I, that they would switch to minus I. Because that plus I is really for it to happen. But then once we start talking about it as a noun, we're not really even dealing with it like a verb. It wants to freeze in that form.
that then my aches and pains like arthritis or?
Yeah, yeah. If you had some regular sickness, like it's really strong today. And so, and it's yanik is all the aches and the pains and the sickness. They can all be yanik, and then you could specify them by like the body part that hurts, or sometimes they have specific names. I think it's ʼatángi is arthritis, like the joints are painful. Or maybe it's ʼatángi. Yeah, that's it. Hurting inside the body. Okay. So there's the first part of the first sentence, right? And so the thing with translation too is you can really dive deep into this stuff, and then you've got some decisions to make as you become translators yourselves, and start doing some of this work to publish. I mean, Zeosh James Crippen estimated that of all the Tlingit that's ever been recorded, less than 1% has been transcribed and translated. So there's lots of Tlingit out there. If you want to learn how to do this stuff, it's exhausting and it's really hard work, but you find such amazing stuff when you do this. And you also see how do the fluent speakers put this stuff together, and we tease it apart with the only intention of doing that is to say, I want to learn how to do that myself. And I also want to learn why this is such a special thing, the way that they sort of tell these stories and use the language. Okay. Okay.
So for for us to work on these pages on our own, how would we go about with this first 3 words to find out what you just told us?
Yeah. So I think the idea here is you start to sort of, you should be able to spot, like, once you see this underline X and some form of siti or sati in there, you should know, okay, that means being Tlingit. And then you should write sort of, even if you're just saying, I know that this is something to do with being Tlingit, and then as we come through as a group, then this will help to sort of push those together into more of like a whole language type of thing. And so if I recommend, like, if you're just totally stuck on a spot, just make some notes on what you think is going on and then just keep going. And as we sort of learn how to do this stuff more, then you'll start gaining confidence and skills and how to get into the books more and recognize, oh, it's one of these types of things. Because when we get into this big whole language, we're going to see there's a bunch of stuff that does go on that some of it we've only scratched the surface on. That's why, so like I give this to you as an assignment, but it's not the kind of thing where like, here you go, turn it in, and I'm not going to help you, I'll just see how you do. It's more like, go see what you can do, and then we'll just walk through this stuff together. Okay? Okay. Second part of the first sentence. Okay? Everybody say, a day.
A day.
A day.
A day.
Ha-e.
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 ʼatángi.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is one verb phrase. You need all of these parts to get this one verb. Adeha I a'tángi. Yeah. Okay. And one of the things that I want you to know is ade and yeah are like two parts on this verb. And so ade and yeah are bookmarking this verb. And what these things do, we're going to start with the one at the end. So this one at the end of a verb, yeah. Has anybody seen that at the end of a verb or know what that thing is usually doing if it's by its own?
I heard one elder say, ye au siku, yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, so it can come after a verb. So yeah. So if this was the verb ʼatángi. Well, I guess let's deal with that one, and then we'll bring the yeah in there. So this could be a verb on its own, right here. Ha'i'atultu. Everybody say ha'i'atultu. Hey, ha'i'atultu.
ʼatángi.
And what is that? What is that? There's some things to unpack in there.
Something about his inner being.
Yeah, well, so there's like tu and things like that. And so once we see this tu, because we've seen tu, but that one usually goes low and then high. And so we'll start to learn how to spot these things. Once we see the ade and the yeah and some other stuff, when you see ade and yeah, in between there is a verb. And we got to find that verb to understand what this sentence is doing. And so the verb is right here, tu. And so to figure out what tu is, what are we going to go look up? Tu, right? So from here, we're going to go into story Wsineix, Ţánghi, and let me. So we go down to where we're looking Tlingit to English, and we'll look up verb roots, and we'll go look for tu. So here's the T's, T-E-E, scroll down, T-O-O-W, read, count, teach, study, practice, pretend to read, right? So then if we go back to here, we say, okay, well, there's an L in front of it, so we're looking for L2 at some point, right? So we might go back here. Oh, here's L. Here's an L classifier.
So it doesn't matter if it's a high tone O or not.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Once we see that it's a verb, we're going to find the verb root and look it up long and low. When we write verb roots, we usually write them in dictionaries long and low, so the tone doesn't, that's how we're going to go find it. Okay? So then we should, and we don't have the shtu in front of it. If we had shtu in front of it, then that's to study. But if we just have shtu, that's to teach. Okay? So this starts to get us closer. Oops. All right. Okay. So now this is to teach, the shtu. So what is the d part in front of it?
Like his or her.
That would be do, and then it has to be a separate word. If it's built right onto the verb, then it's got to be a different pronoun. And this one, they're spelled the same, they look the same, they sound the same. This one, they are pretty different. So earlier, somebody, right? Because earlier I said duchayi'at. That means somebody eats that thing. People eat that thing. It's edible, right? Heshduchayi'at. That one's not edible. So the duh means it happens. People do it. People do it. So when you say dishtu, it means someone is teaching, right? Someone is teaching, it's being taught. It doesn't matter who's doing it, it's happening. And Tlingit uses these quite a bit. Dishtu. So what about ʼatdishtu? So now we're going to add one more thing on there.
Something.
Something, right? And there are a number of verbs where once you throw the ut in there, so a lot of times if you just said dishtu, we are being taught this thing. But when you say ʼatdishtu, we are being taught all kinds of stuff. Same thing. Like if I say, ʼxaxā, I'm eating it, this fish or this, whatever this thing is. But if I say, ʼatxaxā, I'm eating this, I'm eating that, I'm eating whatever. So when we say ʼatdultu, someone is teaching. Someone is teaching. Okay? What about the ha'i part? Our, like if you say, for example, if I say, achite deshe, what am I saying? Help me. But if I say, do eat it deshe,
Help him or her.
Help him or her, right? So there's this other thing that Tlingit likes to do to say, who is the verb going towards? Because I could be teaching something, but then I'm teaching it to somebody. So the to part tends to go right in front of the verb. So in this case, ha'i, to us. So now, when we put all these pieces together, ha'i dultu. How would we translate all of those components together? Yes, but it's not quite a was, it's just we are being taught. We are being taught. Right? And so what the do, there's a couple of things that these other pronouns are doing. Ha'i means it's happening to us. Ha'ina kawanik, she or he told us. Ha'it with the she or he helped us. Gonna cheese ha'it yi the she. Thank you all for helping us. Right? So the e part, it's going to be there for certain verbs. Teaching, telling information to, helping. There's quite a few of them where that e just wants to be there. I'it quwaha, it's your turn. I'it yan uwaha, you're hungry. Right? We are being taught. So now, if we throw the yeh on the end, now the verb changes, and I'm just going to tell you what this yeh does on its own. If yeh pops up after a verb, now we're not really talking about like it becomes the place where that verb happens. Ha'i addiltu yeh, the place we are taught. Maybe I'm talking about school. Maybe I'm talking about camp. Maybe I'm talking about, it just becomes this place where that verb happens. And there could be all kinds of them. If you go into the place name book, there'll be a whole bunch of things called yeh. And it just means the place where that verb happens. Yesh atwagudi yeh, the place where Raven walked around. And there's a whole bunch of Raven names that are built like that. But yeh means place. So you could say, kutuk eat, ye dekachtuat. Let's go to that place where we pick berries. So it can work like that, right? The yeh on its own means the place where the verb happens.
So ade is to the place.
Ade usually on its own means towards it. But Tlingit has this thing where once we put ade and it sort of works together with yeh, and those two guys combined means the way that that verb happens, right? So, atwugudiyeh, the place he was walking around. Ade atwugudiyeh, the way that he was walking around. So once you see ade verbi yeh, the way that verb happens, we're talking about the qualities of it, right? For example, I could say, That was really great, the way that she drew that picture. So I'm talking about the way that that verb happened. Not the fact that it happened, not any of that stuff. But that's how this ade and yeh works. And when you get into stories and narratives, you're gonna see this construction quite a bit. And so now what we got, if we want to add these things all together, ade ha'i atul yeh. How do we put that together now? All these different pieces. Tlingit's just got all these little parts.
The way that we are being taught.
The way that we are being taught, right? So this is how you get into these big concepts in Tlingit. You want to start talking about, the way we're living our life. That was kind of strange how he was eating, right? Maybe he turned his hamburger inside out or something. I don't know. But this is how you talk about the quality. You're going to talk about the way this verb was happening. That was terrible, the way that he was teaching us, right? And so this is how you sort of move to talking about not just the verb itself, but the way that that verb is happening. And so, Yana 8, the E part is in the set of pronouns that we've been learning. So, to go back to these cards, I think this is one of the end cards. It's what we call them postpositional. Doesn't matter what we call them, but this is ach-i, to me, ha-i, to us, i-i, to you, yi-i. The combination is going to be a possessive pronoun plus e, and it might get eat, in, ide. It might get some of those things, right? I say it to my kids sometimes. I'm like, I'm not going to tell you. Everybody okay with that? And so you see, once we get into the way that fluent speakers talk, we'll see there's a bunch of new stuff in here, right? But this is just stuff to start thinking about. Now we're going to see these classifiers and other things in action. But you will get to a point where you'll hear it, it'll make sense, you'll see it, it'll make sense, you'll be able to get there. But at first it does get a little, it's like you're looking inside to see how the machine works, right? So, let's start putting this together. What do we have so far?
Our Tlingit identity, the way we're being taught.
Yeah. Our Tlingit identity, the way we are taught, right? And so what he is communicating to us, he says, being Tlingit identity, the way we are taught, right? And so there's some reasons why, and so this is how he's starting this big story. Because he's got to frame it. The whole identity of being Tlingit up there first. And then he says, the way we are taught, in other words, like this isn't just from me, but this is how I was raised, this is the way we want to teach people. There's a whole bunch of things you could read into that whole sort of opening line right there. And then we're going to get a couple other things here. Wuchya awudene.
Wuchya awudene.
Wuchya awudene.
Wuchya awudene.
Wuchya awudene.
Wuchya awudene.
So how are we going to find this one? What are we going to look for? What are we looking at? What kind of thing is it?
Together. Wooch.
Wooch is together. And then, like, it depends. If we see, like, wooch-in, it could be a little different. But once you see wooch in a verb, that means verbing each other. We're not just verbing together, because we could all be together verbing. We're, wooch-in tucha. We're eating together. Wooch tu decha. We're eating each other. Like, give me that finger. Right? So this is doing the verb to each other. And this ya awudene. So there's a bunch of things we learn to look for. Like, oh, okay, there's a verb coming. That's a verb. I got to go into the verb dictionary now. And what are we gonna? Deslin. Yeah, this for awudene, you wouldn't. If there's what we need is the W to go right against the D in order for it to become the M. So you would probably say amshetu. You would say that for aushetu. Okay.
I was thinking the next line might be to love each other, and then I wondered if the first one might be to respect each other.
Yeah, so let's look up the nay verb. So I like to go to the verb dictionary. For me, that's a fast way to look up verbs, because I'll look them up here and I'll just get the general meaning, then I'll be able to go back and put it together. And you'll get to that point too. So we're going to look for nay and see what comes up. So there's ni, go down, here's nay, and ka ya nay, respect. So there's a couple things that, how to find this, right? So as we start looking through the nay verbs, we're going to look for, there's the ya, and then we've got a, but this is da nay. So so it is respect each other, right? And so if we want to go look this up to go find some examples, we can go into the English section and we'll go look for respect. Down. So here's Hastukashk ayachat keshqa achya has awune. I'm their nephew, but even so they don't respect me. Tlingit satiyi shia ayatu dene. We respect ourselves as Tlingit people, as human beings. So there's a couple things to sort of note. If we go back to, let's see, where am I going to put? Was I showing you this? Oh, I know where. So if we go back to these classifiers here, we've got ya right here. But what happens if you ever put whoosh or wooch right in front of a verb, or if you put that sh, shya, to the self, shtu, to the self, that's going to push that classifier to go plus D. A good way to start thinking about the plus D part is if you're doing it to yourself, or if it's happening to you and you're doing it, that's what pushes it plus D. I see myself. I'm teaching it to myself. We're doing this thing to each other. That's what's going to push it plus D. And that's why you say, Sha awudanechi. Sha awudanechi. Self-respecting people. And that's, and so this is, as we sort of start using Tlingit more and hearing it more and learning more about it, once we hear these words, we're like, I know how that word works. Shia awudane, respecting the self. And here, wuch ya awudane, we respect each other. And this is how he's saying it. So he's saying our Tlingit identity, the way we are taught, we respect ourselves. We respect each other. We respect each other. So the nay in the verb dictionary went long and low. Oh, okay. So this one is long and low because it's a negative, and negatives often go long and low. And then this one, aya to dene. That one, I would expect that to be short and high. But we'll get to stem variation. That's a different road. Okay, everybody okay? Okay. Wooch ischan. Wooch ischan.
That we love each other.
We love each other, right? Wooch ischan. And so, respecting each other, loving each other, and so that's what he's saying are probably for him are these pretty core cultural values. This is what he thinks of, respecting each other, loving each other, and so this is how he's framing the story. Yeah, you guys want to do one more sentence? You want to move on? One more. Okay.
So that victor is chan, it makes it more like a noun, loving each other.
Yeah, it's probably more noun-like than verb. Like, if I were translating this.
Or gerund, the ing.
Yeah, I would say our Tlingit identity, the way we are taught, respecting each other, loving each other. That's how I would translate them. It might be a little bit different, because we see, again, classifier is going minus I, classifier, this one is minus I. And so those aren't technically, I would say, noun forms of the verb. But they're not possessed, and so they don't have that possessive marker.
Could you explain quick why there's the I in ischan at the beginning?
Yes. So a verb cannot have only a consonant as the prefix. So there are some, so you would say, wush tudzechan. We love each other. Tudzechan. Because the whoosh is there, it's going to go from se, ich se chan, to ze. Because the whoosh is in there, pushes it plus D. So then if it goes minus I because it's becoming a noun, it's just an S. This is the snake's favorite classifier. And so you cannot have just an S at the front of a verb. And so what happens is that letter I just pops up there to give you a vowel. That's all that it does. And so it's a little bit sneaky. I'll show you another example in the verb dictionary where it does that. It's kind of a fun verb. I think it's under color. So there's a verb, wudzechak, for a sockeye or a coho to change their color. Ḳaalḳáawu is also a noun for a discolored sockeye or coho that has gone to spawn. So the repetitive form of this is isqaq. And that I, that doesn't mean you. Like, man, you're always, I guess you could probably say that if you're talking to a sockeye salmon. You always change your color when you go upstream, right? But in this case, it's just there to make sure that there has to be a vowel if there's going to be a consonant. And that's just, These are some kind of advanced rules of the Tlingit prefix, but that's why it's there.
So it's not, I mean, the if for you is a prefix.
It is.
That doesn't count in this rule.
It's just what we call a peg vowel. It's just there so we can have a vowel.
So could that verb be used for like chameleons and those ones that always change their
No.
color? Or is it just to change a color one way
For the
and
salmon.
stay that
Yeah,
way?
this is one of those verbs that is only for those two salmon to change their color when they spawn. And so it's pretty cool when there's some verbs that are like that in Tlingit, and that's why you have ʼatángi is the name of that shukach adi chilkat blanket that Austin used to wear all the time.
And that's why they call it the freshwater mark sakai.
And ʼauk'hit is Tlingit clan house, and that is a fresh, and sometimes speakers will correct you because you're like, oh yeah, the salmon house, like freshwater marked sockeye house, right? Okay, good stuff. Okay, so
It's one sentence.
there's one sentence down. Only took us half an hour. Okay, right on.
No.
But these are big steps, and we're taking them together. There's gonna come a time, year from now, where you look back, you're like, oh yeah, I remember when that stuff was, I didn't even know what to do with it. But now you're gonna know the starting point. And I think as you get further along, it's a 5-page story. And this gives you some stuff to grind out on your own, starting to make your own sentences, starting to, keep building your lists, and now you're gonna start interpreting some Tlingit. And this is big level stuff. This is when he's told us these stories, I just knew it was like this magical moment, just based on the way he could talk and the way he knew them and the way that he framed them. It is just great. Okay, so we'll look at these in chunks. The first chunk, chashtakat-at, 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 chashtakat-at. Anybody know what that is?
Ooh, everything, another everything?
Everything, right? So the first thing is, like, if we look at this one on its own, shtakat-at.
Everything.
Everybody say shtakat-at.
Everything.
Yeah, away. It's everything. So this is a good one to practice too, because going from that unvoiced L straight to a D, a lot of people want to put a vowel in there. The other thing that's time to start doing for all of us is to focus on if we ever catch ourselves voicing an L, la, 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 that L sound is not in Tlingit. Every L you see in Tlingit goes
Late.
That's a DL. It's a different letter.
I remember Dick would say, just put your tongue where you would for an L and blow.
That's right. Okay, so, but shtakat-at is everything. And then when you put the ch in front of it, it's sort of like every single thing, right? It just kind of ramps it up a little bit. And so what you have here is shtakat, and shtakat on its own is all. So shtakat-at, all the things. Shtakat-qa, all the people. Shtakat-tlingit, all the Tlingits. Shtakat-hicht, all the frogs. So it could pop up in front of any noun, and now it becomes all of them. Shtakat-yuhan, it's a nice way to start a speech. All of y'all. Shtakat-yuhan, every single one of y'all. They're just slightly different. So chashtakat-at, every single thing. Ayakquaheyaku. Ayakquaheyaku. Ayakquaheyaku.
Spirit.
It's a spirit, right? So there are a number of different spirits in Tlingit. Sort of the three basics is tuwu is the spirit inside of a living human being. Sometimes creatures as well. But tuwu has to do with thoughts, intentions, spirit, desires, all tied together. Ache is a spirit that sort of something that died, but its spirit remains to help out, usually the old medicine people. That's the yake part. Then yakwaheyaku is that living entity inside of everything. And this is a fundamental part of Tlingit thought, is that everything has, this is the spirit that exists. This is why you don't talk negatively about animals and why you're careful. But even say, ya edana yi, we dana, yakwaheyaku kudzati, kashayakoti just the kat yede ishiti. Kwashi tuasaku dana ichiyeti, you we dana yakwaheyaku. Ya ayakane. So they'd say, it was Jenny Shanat. She said, everything has a spirit. Even money has a spirit. If you just throw it all over the place, you're never going to have any. You got to respect that spirit if you want it. And then this, it needs to belong to something, which is why the is there. Like you could, if you were the spirit of the salmon, so it could belong to things, but you wouldn't say it's not quite right for in the Tlingit Tundetani. Is usually in these non-human things, but it's in everything. It's in rocks, it's in water, it's in trees. Okay. Kudzati.
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 How do we translate that?
Exists. Yeah.
It exists, right? Kudzati. So these are nouns. That's a noun. Then kudzati is our verb. So if we go into here, we go down to T, we're going to find a whole bunch of stuff. And so when we look things up, we'll look up a verb root. It'll start showing us what happens. There's these different verbs in here. If you put stuff in front of it, it's a different verb. If you change the classifier, now it's a different verb. And then if you put more stuff in front of that, it's different. If you start adding thematic prefixes, it's a different verb. So we're going to go down and look for k-z-t. To be, to exist, to live, and to be born. So when we deal with this kudzati verb, we're going to see there's two main kinds. So you could say chat kudzati. So if we were to, I'll show you the notes. So I could say chat kudzati. And how would I translate that? I exist. I exist. And you see, like, I'm the object in here. There's an object pronoun. There's another form of this. So I could say, kuchzati. Kuchzati. And how is that different?
Possessive.
Not quite possessive, but it moves to a subject. So, kuchzati, I exist. Kuchzati, I'm living my life. Right? So so there are two different versions of this, and you'll see them, and you got to figure out which one it is. That's the big difference, is one has an object, one has a subject. So for the object, it would be like, I was born, this type of thing exists, it's a thing that is a real thing, it does exist. But then you could also say, you could have command forms to say, live a good life, live correctly, live according to the way we were taught. if you need to teach people, that's the one that you would use. And there's some examples of that in the verb dictionary. You'll see it, where they're saying, live correctly. Okay. So now, let's get this concept all together. This is all one sort of verb, and then it ties to the next verb. How are we going to interpret this one?
All things have spirit.
What's that?
All things have spirit.
Everything has a spirit. This is how you say it in Tlingit. As you're teaching people, you're talking about the Tlingit belief system. This is a very fundamental phrase to the way that the old people would think about things. And you notice it doesn't need to say inside or anything like that. It just says there is a spirit for everything. And this is why we're taught to be respectful to everything, to not laugh at animals, to not make too much fun of each other, to not say negative things about, different types of things. Okay. I have to look at the part. That might be a wa. Okay. So you are ha'i atiltu. Let's just say ha'i atiltu. Now what is this part saying to you?
Same as the previous one.
It doesn't have the ade and the yeah. So with the ade and the yeah, it means this is how we are taught. But this one, he's just saying,
That's something we learned.
yeah, we are taught. That's how we are taught this, right? So again, everything has a spirit. This is how we are taught. Right? So this is, again, he's saying something, and the reason why he's putting this ha'i atiltu is because he's making sure you know, like, I'm not just telling you this. I was taught this. This is how we are taught. And so he's communicating two things. Like, here's the concept. This is a Tlingit thing, and we got to make sure we keep teaching it because I was taught this. All that is given to you in these two sentences, right? So it's amazing. So much information packed in there. So much stuff to sort of take a look at. And as we come back, so he's going to tell us this big story. And he's got to set this story up. So when somebody starts telling you a story like this, what do you start thinking about?
He was talking about respect for the salmon. It's a salmon story.
Yeah, so and if this is a Tlingit story, when somebody starts a story like this, you get somebody's going to mess up, right? I mean, that's probably what's going to happen is there's going to show you what happens when that doesn't, when it goes against this. And so there are quite a few stories that are like that, where they'll sort of start with something and you'll say, I'm going to tell you about this time when everything went haywire because somebody didn't do the way that we are told. And so that's not how every story works, but that is how a lot of Tlingit stories work. And when a storyteller frames it, they're usually like they're putting a seed in your mind, saying, this is what I want you to think about while you're hearing this story. And that's a very common thing you'll see in Tlingit storytelling. Okay. Any questions?
I still didn't get wuchya or wudane.
Respecting each other.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question about, just a general question about verbs, kind of. When you're using like a proper noun, like someone's name, and there are like the parts of the verb, like the duh, like you're talking about, like you're using that pronoun. Do you use both when you're using someone's name, or does the name kind of like substitute for the pronoun, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Try and pull something up that'll help. The short answer is pronouns in a Tlingit verb never go away. So for example, like, so I think this is in Wsineix, ʼatángi. Let me try and find the section where I had this in. I don't think it's in the... Okay, I had to find it. So, but yeah, so basically, I don't think I'll be able to find it, but it's in one of these chapters. I'll find which one it is. So an example, even with just common nouns, in English, you'll say, let's say your cat was a female, and you'd say, the cat chased the mouse. But then if you wanted to say she, then you would say she, or first, let's just start with that. She chased the mouse. But then if the cat has a name, Shuna, Shuna chased the mouse. And then you would say, Shuna chased Henry because you named your mouse Henry. So what's going on, or Shuna chased him, is you pick one or the other, and they just cancel each other out. Right? So for example, he kissed her. Joe kissed Jenny. My cousin kissed that girl, right? So they could change. But in Tlingit, what you see is they are built into the verb. And so that he, she business, once we start thinking about, well, how would it work if we used Tlingit grammar for English? One is you would have to say he, she, him, her, it, and they could never go away. Me, you. So the third person has to be there, right? And so you'll see some things like that. So for example, if we took this one, awachash, she or he cut it, right? Awachash. So no matter what information you gave about who did it or what it was, that verb would stay awachash. So that pronoun is built into the verb, and it will not go away. And then there's a bit of a knock thing going on here. In Hawaii, they call it he'e. Well, let's say there's components of a sentence, and they can move around. Like, so I say, kasha kasha in, wait, tas awachash. So that's saying he cut, or she, cut that thread with scissors. I can add a name in there if I wanted to. Kashke sawe, kasha kasha in, wait, tas awachash. But what we'll find is like there's these little chunks, and we can move them around. Wait, tas awachash, kasha kasha in. That doesn't matter. You're saying the same thing, right? And as far as the word order, you're going to say the most important things first. If someone asks, oh yeah, datin sa awachash, what did they cut that with? Kasha kasha in awachash. Oh, what did they, dasa awachash, what did they cut? Tas awachash, kasha kasha in. Right, so this is how you start thinking about how to construct your own sentences. One is just focus on getting them together so that you're going to think of something and convey it. That's an awesome moment. But as we start thinking about these sort of fine-tuning questions, these are the types of things that we should be talking about. Other thoughts, questions?
In going to the store for coffee, could that also include la for?
What's that?
La for coffee?
Yeah, ká. It's right there.
Oh, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's not separate.
No, that technically ká, it's a suffix.
It goes with the noun then?
Yeah. So when you're going to say what you're going to the store for, you throw the ká right on, or anywhere. I'm going to go there for that thing.
Can you attach it to the noun?
Yeah. So like if I left my coffee cup in the boat, I might say Yauk de kukwagut ach guk oops qa. And it's going to follow the rule of the open suffix. Does anybody remember the rule of the open suffix? It's the opposite of the tone before it. So you would say yak qa, kahwe qa, hit qa. Right? So it's always going to be the opposite of the tone before it. And let's see. These sample sentences to look at on our, oh yeah. So these ones are in Wsineix, ʼatángi. So there's some sample sentences in here. This introducing the Tlingit verb chapter, this is chapter 9. This is probably a good one for you guys to check out. Just read it. And so it starts to list out a lot of this stuff we're talking about with a bunch of examples. And then the next chapter talks about the classifier and the root. So the idea here is to really just show you what these parts are, walk you through some examples, learn how to spot what a verb is, and how to look it up so that you start to sort of see the verb starts changing when we start talking about now, later, in the past, those types of things. And then it gets really complicated. You say if this thing happens or because this thing happens. Okay. Everybody doing any other questions? Things that are going to help you? Only got a few minutes left.
When I was looking at the verb to be born, I realized that ʼqagasti was part of what Cyril George said that you have in the chant.
Yeah, so
That was
he
really
said,
cool.
yeah, he said, let it exist. I think we got time to actually, let me show you guys this thing that, let's see. So this video is on YouTube. Let me get the volume on the TV. It's a good thing to close out on. There's a number of these videos. This is where the story that you guys are working on comes from. So don't go to YouTube and watch it with the subtitles on because that's cheating. But my goal was to record speakers, put it on YouTube. I just want to let you know, so you don't do it. But the goal was to put this stuff on YouTube so it's easy to find, and you can watch it on any device, and YouTube makes it really easy to upload subtitle files. And that's a good thing because there's always going to be errors in there. People will point them out, and then I can go in and change them pretty easy. We asked him to tell a series of stories. And we also, Ḳaalḳáawu Ishmael Hope asked him, what do Tlingit language learners need to hear? And so this was the story that the narrative that he shared with us. And from the end, you'll see Qudziti. There's a form that we call the hortative, which is Ḳaalḳáasti. Let it exist, let it live, let it be that way. or let it just be. And so you could find this on your own if you look up ʻArqawu with 2 underline K's. I'm going to throw one of these microphones instead of the TV. And he just shares some just wonderful things with us in this video.
ʻAtángi 1922 put Canary ʻAxíscochen Ḳaalḳáawu Shit Kádaxado Aqof Aqchachando Aqat Ḳaalḳáawu Ḳaalḳáawu Aqtokrestiku Aqsaitu Yakewati Ḳaalḳáawu Shan Ḳaalḳí Kenachtahan Kantifid 1922 to see Kulawa Hajinakranas Hush Hakusti Hayukhatanga Yidadea Yahuan Khastinen Yishal Iskukri So Khatokan Dakhanan Khasej Yahua Khastina Khayatiya Nayat Yishisko Haskastia Why take Tretino Church Haji Daktoslahash Hakusti Yahua Khastina Akhtatchankian Akhyatke Yitato Akhtu Yeti Taisa Sekhe Akhtu Big Hakusti Anaskish Yexatoan Khatsa Akhua Tiskin Bitkosta Asta Khatiku Yes Astu Akhagal Dinoy Khati Tatsich Kupa Pasti Shinket
So a couple of things is there's a few errors in that video. I gotta go fix them. Good stuff, like those words that they shared with us about how much hope it gives the old people to see. I mean, so imagine them going so long without being able to have a conversation with people who have learned the language and didn't grow up with it, and it sort of froze at a certain point among our people. And so that's a very special thing to be able to communicate in this language, and it brings people great joy. So I know it's a lot of hard work. There's a real grind to it. I do want to point out at the top of our class webpage, there are some texts here, the beginning Tlingit workbook, which we've gone through, Wsineix, ʼatángi, which maybe we'll take a little bit more of a guided dive into. So if you can take a look at that one in particular over the weekend. I know I gave you some other things to do, but really looking at this chapter 9 and reading this chapter 9 so that we can come through, talk about some of these components in a little bit more of a dedicated, guided sort of a fashion. There's some other stuff if you really want to take a deep dive. The Verbal Structure Handbook and Tlingitology Seminar, the dissertation by Wsineix, the dissertation by Ḳaalḳáawu. Those talk a lot about how Tlingit works. And you find your balance between listening and speaking, building your lists of things, going out and studying this grammar and structure type of stuff, and then just self-care. Make sure you're not feeling down on yourself, make sure you're not feeling upset, make sure you're not feeling too nervous, and so for me it's a balance of those 4 things, just continually moving between those realms. And so sometimes in the use and listening, it's going to find a recording and putting it on, and sometimes it's making sure that you're talking and you're saying things. The list building is, I want to learn a whole bunch of fish. I want to learn a whole bunch of these types of things and start sort of committing those to memory. The structural stuff is a combination for me of this translation type of work and then also just really just reading about how does the Tlingit grammar structure work. And then the 4th part is really just taking care of each other, taking care of yourself, because there's a lot of people who, if all the people who walked away from Tlingit were still here, would probably have 500 speakers. So there's a lot of people who walked away, and we want to figure out how to keep people in the island or on the boat or wherever we're at. So, Yakecha, there's a group that's been using this link to meet and study and talk. So that's one of the purposes of having this ʼatángi document. So go on there, make sure your name or your Tlingit name and your email is on there. I'll send out an email. Feel free to use that to set up study times and sessions. I'll have Claire Helgeson reach out to you guys as well, see if she can help create those sessions, because don't feel like you got to do this stuff on your own, because there's groups of people who are doing this.
Francês.